Hi, and welcome to 647. 6 stories for 7 a.m. because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. Not always as quick as I would like it, but we're working on it. And the truth starts now. So the 647 Tapas Bar is open. These are light bites. These are small plates of news, los platos pequeños. And it's information I want you to have, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So let's go. Tapas serving number one. U.S. Park Police remove statue of Trump and Epstein from the National Mall on Wednesday. So the statue was not in compliance with permits. And I got to tell you, this is actually pretty funny, okay? This is the libs doing something to embarrass Trump. And they spent some money on this. I mean, this was a full marble mount, big, with like 3-foot pedestals and life-size statues of both Trump and Epstein, but they're holding hands and they're skipping together in a euphoric, light in the loafer looking moment, right? So it's funny and it's gone, but it was funny. And you know what? The libs are normally not capable of humor without professional assistance. But this was funny. It was too funny, but now it's gone. All right. Second small plate. Jimmy Kumquat was back on ABC, and Sinclair and Nexstar said, we're not going to allow him to be out there. They all started waffling today. They were out there with their press people saying, we're paying very close attention to this. That translation to me is the left is getting to the CEOs of those companies and leaning on them. And, Jimmy did a great job of playing the victim, right? More of a victim than Charlie was, right? I mean, that in his eyes and in the eyes of the left. This was full-on fascist enslavement that they took his show away from him. So he's going to be the next Mother Teresa before the week is over. And he is just constantly virtue signaling that Ben Shapiro and Clay Travis and Candace Owens and Mitch the China bitch McConnell and Rand Paul and Ted Cruz, a big representation of right-wing thought and rhino representation, were on his side, right? He would never support any of them if they were being censored, but that's not the point. These folks are all saying, hey, we have a First Amendment. We don't like Jimmy, but you can't just take him off for saying things that you don't like. Unless you're the orange roughie. All right. We'll see what happens with that. Do we have more on the tapas menu tonight? That's nice. I don't think so. All right. Take two. Trump as nemesis to the United Nations. So Sabotage was the soup du jour being served to the Trumps at the UN on Tuesday. First of all, when they came in, they took an escalator ride to go up to the venue, and halfway up, the escalator stopped, right? And nobody could get it running, so they had to walk. It was stopped right in the middle, and they had to walk up to the upper floor to get there. Then Trump comes into the main auditorium, and he's ready to begin his speech, and the teleprompter goes dark, right? So this was all a setup to try to embarrass him. but he's too good at what he does. He's too up on all the issues. And so he delivered a sledgehammer speech without the teleprompter. And since he was doing such a good job, they turned the teleprompter on halfway through his speech, trying to get him to trip up or, it's just ridiculous. So I hate the UN. They talk all this lofty stuff, but it is not what they walk out. And personally, I would like the Orange Roughy to serve the UN an eviction notice. They are an amalgamation of thugs and despots and leftist nutcases posing as peacekeepers. And everywhere they go and use their actual peacekeepers, those UN troops end up raping women and kids. And, it's a nightmare. They're a nightmare. And I think we should throw the scum out and make that building a veteran village. The values of the UN, they have lofty values on paper, but what they actually do, the fruit of their tree, is the exact opposite of the values of 80% of patriotic Americans. They should move their headquarters to Yemen or Qatar, or I would like to see them go to Nigeria. All right. They won't be listening to me, but who knows what will happen. Take 3. YouTube spanked. I like this story. You gotta love lefties. Earlier this year, Mark Zuckerberg confessed to Trump that the Biden regime forced him to censor conservatives on Facebook and Instagram. Yo, Marky, how about the 400 million you put into the steal of the 2020 election for fake mail-in ballots? Who forced you to do that? Nobody brought that up. What is wrong with people when they're having these meetings with these jerks? They should put them right up against the wall. So now Google's attorneys came for their spanking on Tuesday and made the same false claim. Biden made us do it. We didn't want to. We like conservative voices. That is such BS. I've been in launch mode, right? With 2 online projects for 14 months, for the past 14 months. And I've been put in the penalty box twice on YouTube with the warning that if I did any violation, they would just wipe my channel off. Gone. Content gone, everything, and I'm off permanently, right? I've been banned permanently from X. I've been banned permanently from Facebook before I ever had a chance to post anything on Facebook. And you know what the violations were most of the time? Talking negatively, in their mind, about the COVID vaccine. What I was talking about is all the research from around the world coming out proving that thing is causing more harm than COVID did and continuing to. So these fascist Fs that are running all of these things, you know what? Trump's just got to break it all up. They're all monopolies. That's why they flex so hard on anyone they don't like. And they are having a profound effect on elections. And you know what? Republicans, if you want to be stupid and just take the money from them and then what? This is the problem with having all these rhinos in the Congress. They're very happy to see censorship happen, to see the midterms go to the Democrats, to see Trump be thrown out, and then they'll all be oinking at the trough happily until the country goes down the drain, which it won't be far away from. So break these companies up now. They're monopolies. They are way too powerful and way too lefty. All right, take 4. Dallas copycat sniper attacks ICE facility. So this lefty loon killed himself and one other person and apparently wounded another. Okay, I've seen like 5 different versions of the story. I don't know why it's so impossible in Dallas to get the facts, but whatever. He used a high-powered rifle, a hunting rifle, just like the guy in Utah, the patsy in Utah. Sorry, that's my opinion on this. He wrote on the shell casings like that guy did, and he was wound up ideologically on Trump as fascist dictator and ICE as his shock troops. And these people are unstable. The left and the deep state will continue to groom these disaffected clowns until the FBI uncovers their support networks and goes up the ladder and starts nailing the people who are funding these folks. Until then, wear a vest when you run errands. The furries are furious. All right, take 5. Hillary Clinton, Rip Van Rodham. That's my name for her. Rip Van Rodham. She's been asleep in an old Chardonnay cask for 9 years, and she just woke up, and it's like nothing changed for her. She comes right back with white racism and going after white men and Christian men, and man, some old stuff barking out of her mouth. So this is Breitbart by Pam Key. I'm just going to pick parts of it out. This chick is so evil. I just can't believe that she's back. And you know why she's back? Because she's thinking, well, they're going to put AOC up, or they're going to put Slick from California up. And those people are just photo op people. They cannot do battle with words. And Hillary can do that. So she's obviously thinking she's got a spot somewhere. So it says former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said Wednesday on MSNBC Morning Joe, of course, the idea that all men and women are created equal was in the crosshairs of those on the right. He said, I think right now we're on a pause. I think that people are uncertain. Some people are actually scared about what's going on in our country. The idea of we the people, that all men and women are created equal. This Satan voice isn't going to last long. I tell you, it's too hard on the chords. But I want to use it for Rip Van Rodham. Let's do it. Let's destroy everything. The idea that we the people, that all men and women are created equal, that seems to me to be in the crosshairs of those on the right who want to turn the clock back on the progress that has been made, writing out huge chunks of our history, slavery, suffrage, anything inconvenient, Take it out of the museums, take it out of national parks. She added, I love my country, and I love it, warts and all. And I'm proud of the fact that we have always been a work in progress. We haven't gotten to the more perfect union. We fought a civil war over it. People have been protesting, for hundreds of years that, things were not as they should be, given our ideals and how we should be moving toward them. So I think that's what makes us so special as a country. And the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology is just doing such damage. Yo, Rip Van Rodham, white racism, that's not going to float your presidential boat. So the times have changed since you went into whatever, offline in a Chardonnay cask somewhere 9 years ago. The new grift is health care for illegal immigrants and mutilating minors. So get with the program, Rip, if you want to be a viable candidate. All right, take 6. These are AWS studies, and we have two interesting ones today. We have a celebrity spawn, and we have an Eagle Scout and former director of the FBI who cannot tell the truth. This is precursor data when we're trying to diagnose who has the RMS, right? Reprobate Mind Syndrome. So the first one up is the spawn of Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, their daughter Violet. She's demanding that mass masking during the UN address, right? So Violet Affleck, the 19-year-old undergraduate daughter of Hollywood's Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, addressed the United Nations on Tuesday wearing a mask, a major mask, up the nose, all the way to the eyebrows, all the way out to the cheeks, like major, major virtue signaling mask. Well, she addressed the United Nations on Tuesday and demanded an immediate return of personal masks to combat coronavirus. Violet thinks it's still right here, ready to get us. The first-year student at Yale's Davenport College was appearing as part of an event titled Healthy Indoor Air, a global call to action. Violet used her moment in the spotlight to decree it was essential to remain wearing masks even now, some 5 years after the coronavirus first spread around the planet after its debut in China. She wore her mask during her speech. So this is new for us. This is a generational spread. Two Hollywood titans have this daughter, and she is as reprobate as you want to be. Totally, totally broken-minded and wearing a mask everywhere. It must have brought her so much comfort, she just can't release it. And here is an Eagle Scout and a former FBI director who just can't tell the truth. And he's being indicted. Let's all say Ray. Former FBI Director James Comey is expected to be indicted by a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia in the near future. Wow. The news outlet reported Wednesday, based on sources, comes 2 weeks after former Comey advisor and Columbia law professor, don't you love it? The Eagle Scout, the director of the FBI, and a law professor from Columbia are all lying their butts off and doing illegal stuff. Man. So the Columbia law professor, Daniel Richman, was subpoenaed as part of a criminal probe. President Donald Trump has argued that Comey broke the law by sharing memos with classified information with the New York Times. So Comey's getting these memos. He's calling Daniel Richman at Columbia. They meet up. He hands them the envelope. Daniel gets them to the New York Times, and it gets splashed everywhere. And Trump is embarrassed by the whole thing. So, you know what? We're just waiting and waiting and waiting, okay? Now we're waiting for an indictment. We need a trial. We need these folks in irons, and we need them behind bars. And we need them to be treated the same way these poor J6 people were treated. This is just unbelievable. believable that we're having to wait so long and we're constantly scolded that, well, we have to do these legal things right, right? I don't know. They didn't have to do them right. But you know what? We're going to do it right. We're going to do it right, and we're going to nail them the right way, and they're not going to be able to get off. And you're going to do it right. You know how? Do I have to say it? You're going to like us. You're going to share us. You're going to make comments, and you're going to push us out to your network. I know you are. Because you know what's happening? We are growing, and you are being blessed by God in heaven. And you know what? People thought I was crazy a week ago when this tragedy happened with Charlie. And I said, you know what? This is a horrible thing. But I know from studying the Bible how God works. And we're all going to end up being blessed by this. And wow, it is happening. There's nobody who could stand and tell me, yeah, you shouldn't have said that. You don't know anything. I knew that. And it's happening. You know how many requests for Turning Point chapters right now? Over 120,000. You know what that means? There's going to be one in every high school and every college in the United States. Plus. Charlie, so sorry. What happened? And wow, is God using it? And it's going to help put Comey away. It's going to help keep Hillary away. She should actually be put away. And you know what? We're here. We're doing something that's in accord with everything that's going on. And so I fully anticipate that this is going to grow and grow and grow. And God is going to bless us, and he's going to bless you. So God bless you. Have a fantastic Thursday. You know what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to give it one notch of flaps. You're supposed to push that yoke a little bit forward. You just want to feel the nose dip a little bit, and then you're going to get that glide slope, because we call this Glide Slope Thursday. And if you set it up right today, you will glide all the way through Friday and right through the weekend. That's our hope for you. God bless you.
The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Hey yo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes.